Hey everyone, and welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here.
Markus here.
Hello. Right, this is Markus Reeves. He's from Reeves Electro and makes these incredible things. Comme ça. And if you want to know more about Markus, you can watch previous shows where we featured his stuff. The reason we're here today is...
a while ago, Jeorge Tripps visited us.
He did. Jeorge Tripps of Way Huge, Dunlop and MXR.
Right. Well, over here I have for you guys a bag of Fuzz Face, so you can build your very own Fuzz Face.
Really?
All the parts, things you need are right there.
Come on.
So,
leg end of the effects community and designer.
And he gave us a present.
Behold, the bag o' fuzz. And this was probably 3 years ago, and George, bless him, the Labrador is barking. There's a Labrador who is in training for the World Barking Championships and is in medal contention position. So what we're going to do...
I'm intrigued to see what's in it.
And what we're going to do today, Miles is going to show us how to build it. So what we're hoping to cover today then, some basic stuff you need to think about when building pedals.
Yeah, soldering skills is probably the key part. I mean, I guess we're not going to, really deep dive into that, but, some kind of basics and where you want to start and that can get you to a point of being able to get components nicely, securely attached onto a PCB.
Okay, so technical stuff. Lots of people who ask me and Dan why we don't make pedals, and the answer is usually because he makes them. Shall we have a look what's in the bag of Fuzz Face then?
Absolutely.
This shouldn't be too surprising, this part. So far we're qualified to undertake all these
you're doing very well.
Modifications.
Yeah.
So completed Fuzz Face in there. What are they, 108s?
I would imagine so, because this style, if it's the JH1, it did have 108, so yeah.
We'll do a close-up of that in a sec.
You see 108s, yeah. So that's completely finished and just has to be bolted in, basically.
Yeah, so George gave us that to say, this is how you do it, and then in the bag of Fuzz Face here are some things that might make more sense to you and Dan.
Okay. So looks like that's a Germanium version.
Right.
Come on.
That's
With a very squashed capacitor.
yeah, they're the original kind of the oval shaped, lozenge shaped ones. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh.
So I will I'll film all this in a sec.
This is something good.
Yeah. NKT 275. That is the transistor. That is the transistor to have in a Fuzz Face.
And there's another one.
Yeah, you need two of them.
Yeah. Bless you, George.
Wow. These are the ones that Analog Man ran out of.
No way.
Yeah.
All the stuff that has been sat in the bag for 3 years and we had no idea. So you're happy with that?
That's killer.
Yeah. And then the other components to make a Fuzz Face.
Yes. There's not many of them. It's a beautifully simple circuit, and the reason there's so many versions of it is because you take, as we've, I'm sure we've said this many times before, you take one component out and change it for a different value, and it has a massive change on the output. So it's a great little circuit.
Great.
Tweaker's delight.
In which case, let's get into it then. We're going to have a little reset. You're going to see lots of burning soldering irons. I'd like to apologise for this massively off-centre shot.
Well, I'll leave. There you go. That's better. It's in centre now.
We can move along.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Ready?
Yep.
Yep.
Awesome.
So there we are. There's how to populate a fuzz face in 3 seconds.
Bear in mind we haven't actually built a circuit yet, but so we just need to put the back on and see if it works then.
Yep.
Imagine if we had a guitarist on hand.
Well, my name's not Lemmy.
So
that was a Jimi Hendrix roadie gag, by the way.
oh yeah, of course. So
where are we?
we have actually put the input and the output the right way around.
On the wrong way.
So your input there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which never happens because, as lovers of Fuzz-Fi will know, they're the wrong way around, aren't they? Right, let's turn the amp on and see if it works then. Marshall Class 5. We're going to just take a minute to
Get some beans.
Hello, McFly.
You're a slacker, McFly.
So we've got bypass.
Bypass.
You ready?
Yeah.
What will happen next is we're going to build the other board from scratch. We will then have this one, another one, and we'll go in and play them in the other room.
Awesome.
Nice one. Happy days.
Okay, Marcus, let's have a quick look at the circuit.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to do some massive generalizations and skip over some of the finer points of this circuit, but basically I just want to explain the audio path and how it kind of gets fuzzy. We've got our input here, which starts with a 2.2 UF capacitor. That is there for 2 reasons. It filters your input signal and cuts or allows as much bass as the capacitor will let you. The second reason it's there is to block DC, which powers the circuit, for going back into your guitar to cause crackles when you adjust the volume. So that then goes to, so your signal ends up at the base of Q1, which is the first transistor. It is then amplified for the first time and then sent directly to the base of Q2, which then again is amplified and sent through a resistor which adjusts the volume through output capacitor, which is here. And that then stops the DC going out into your amplifier. There's also a resistor, 100k resistor here, which is what we call a feedback loop, which just sends more of the fuzz back around into itself, or more of the signal back into itself, which really amplifies it and gives you the fuzz. Then connected to that feedback circuit is the fuzz control itself. Now the signal is lazy, and if you give it a route to earth, it will take it rather than be amplified. So as you turn the fuzz down, it is increasing the route to earth, and so will decrease the fuzz. Most of us have it pretty much maxed, so all the signal is going back into Q2, and that's what causes the fuzz. The last thing is there's 2 resistors here. These are purely to adjust the amount of power that goes to the transistors, which are what's called biasing transistors. So the more power you give or the less power you give, it affects how the transistors create the fuzz, whether it's smooth or Velcro-y as the term is known. It all depends on those two resistors.
Are they the resistors that are like in the... some people put them on pots for like fuzz factories
Absolutely.
and things like that.
Specifically the Q2.
Right.
Some people like to adjust this one as well, but this is, if you see a bias, an external bias on a fuzz, generally it will be this bad boy here.
Excellent.
I guess we should say thanks to fuzzcentral.com.
Yes.
Was that npod.com?
npod.com, yeah. And this is a classic schematic that was drawn out by one of the godfathers of fuzz back in, crikey, probably the late 70s, Mr. R.G. Keane.
Okay, so thanks to them for their work. We should credit that.
Yep.
Could you lay the bits on there?
Yes.
I'm interested in this.
Okay, so these resistors aren't specifically the ratings. I'm just dropping them in there just to show you. So anybody who might pick up and say that's not a 33k resistor, no, it's not.
I think this is more for the people who go, oh wow,
I've seen
that's
that.
what a transistor looks like.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what a capacitor looks like.
Yeah, right.
Because while there's probably loads of you watching this who are super geeky and know all this stuff inside out, there's a great deal more of you who are watching this who have no idea. So.
Oh yeah, well spotted.
Nice. Really cool.
That's it. That's as simple as a fuzz. So your audio literally just has a straight path in to the transistor, to the next transistor, through a resistor, through another capacitor, then out. The rest of it is just to adjust what it's doing.
Yeah, and so all the fuzz is created by the signal being amplified beyond the capacity
Absolutely.
of the transistors.
It's this feedback loop that causes. This is just called a shunt series amplifier, which is a classic textbook amplifier. And without the feedback loop, it's quite a good clean amplifier with a few adjustments.
Sure.
But that is where it when it broke in that input stage of that mixing desk that we can all read about on Mr. Absolutely. That's a whole nother story for another.
But this is why then, because all of that gain that we hear has been created within these transistors, this is why the transistor choice in your fuzz face is so crucial, because it's all done there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so some transistors will take more load, some transistors will take less load, and to find that clarity, that point of clarity, is just a juggling act.
Sure.
Really, to find where you get that fuzz that you like, and this is why the fuzz face is just so incredibly varied.
Right. Excellent. Let's build a fuzz.
Yeah.
It is time to begin the building of the fuzz face. So we've got the PCB. And Markus shall now take us through populating said PCB.
Well, I mean, it's not a super complex thing. So really, the order of service on a PCB is resistors first. You do the lowest things first. Just because they don't get in the way. So
the lowest thing, as in the lowest things that sit on the PCB.
Yeah, lowest in height.
Yes.
So 37. So what I tend to do, and is obviously stuff is in kind of banks, and you just group them up, dry, and then whack a bit of either blue tack or masking tape on the back, and then flip them over, solder them in, and then go and do the next set. So, okay, hold on a second. can be quite fiddly.
And it's fair to say, isn't it, that compared to a lot of pedals, a fuzz face is really simple because there's not that many components.
It's a great way to start. If you're thinking of building, yourself a pedal, I would say it's one of the circuits that is up there with the all the good beginner circuits, really. So it's
A really good thing I think about the fuzz face is that if it's your first pedal, when you turn it on, there's no mistaking that
it's working.
That your guitar sound is different.
Yeah. So, okay, that's the first 3 set, and then all we need to do is just pop that on, flip it over, and then they are ready to get stuck in. So, soldering. There's lots of stuff on YouTube about soldering, but the secret is really when you have a new tip is to look after the tip. There's a coating on it that accepts your solder, and it should melt, it should wrap around the tip. If it blobs on the tip, then the coating of the tip is compromised. And very often there's nothing you can do about that except get a new tip. It should just kind of, as you touch it, just poof straight on, and there it is. If it doesn't do that, if you're having to hold it, there's either a problem with your temperature or a problem with a compromised tip. Well, I'm going to have to put my geeky second pair of glasses on, because the other thing that's important about soldering is being able to see what you're doing. So the thing that actually transfers the heat is the solder. It's not the contact from your tip to the component. You won't get a lot of heat transferred across. You need to heat everything up. And the thing that actually transfers that heat is the solder. So go in and you'll see it flow. And as soon as you see it flow, it's done. It's difficult to describe the joy that you get from a good soldering joint.
Markus was going to encourage me to do some soldering. I think Dan is well au fait with soldering. My soldering skills you will have seen from vlogs past. I think we just decided to let the expert do it.
So there we are. That's the first 3 transistors cut in.
Resistors?
Resistors. I said transistors, didn't I? Yeah. Talking and walking is not one of my skills. So there we go. That's the first step. You can get pre-shapers for that are set to the width. There's a standard width. I do have one. It's in my workshop. So and it's literally just a thing. You sit a component in and bend the legs around. You know the legs are going to be the exact width apart of where you need to put them. But as I said, I've left that behind, so I'll have to do it the old school way.
I'm in the commentary box here with Daniel Steinhardt of the Gig Rig. Dan, what do you think of Markus's performance so far?
I've always been impressed with Markus's form. I think he's come into the season strong. He hasn't had a bit of competition, but he's held himself very well. It's good to see his confidence is up and is performing wonderfully as usual, as we would expect. I expect him to finish strong, and by the end of the day, we will have a new champion.
Okay, so we're going in with some of the other components now. Electrolytic capacitors. Make sure that they're facing the right way. You'll see that they have an indent in them. just check your schematic or whatever you're building from to make sure they are facing the right way, because they are what's known as polarized.
Like most people in their fuzz.
Oh, I knew you were going to come up with something there. Yeah, they are. So I'm glancing off camera because I do, we all need a double check. I've got one. I do want to get it all in and get it wrong. And I'm being filmed. The pressure's on.
Yeah. I'd say you're very brave, especially with the weight of internet opinion that exists.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't really care. Let's be honest.
How long has it been since you've used the PCB?
Oh, that's a good question. It's probably 4 years.
Wow.
So, well, I use Vero, which is similar for sort of prototyping and stuff, which is like a strip board. So I guess fairly recently I have, but not a proper PCB like this. There are different routes to populating PCBs. You can, or building your circuits. You can either go the whole DIY route, which is on you kind of buy a strip board which literally has strips on it, and you just connect the circuit in a certain way on them, which creates the circuit. You make breaks in the strip and things like that. That's really DIY. Or you can buy a kit, which is sometimes a really good way, to start, because half of it's kind of laid out already.
I was going to say, if you're new into this and you want to have a go at making your own pedals, buying something that has a board already done like this is by far the most sensible way to begin, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, absolutely. Because otherwise you're just, you're kind of having, a few battles to start with before you even know that the circuit's going to be a goer, so.
And if any of you out there are watching this poo-pooing that and, saying, oh, you cheaters, why are you using a board? Just have a look at Markus's pedals. And it's probably the right time to say thanks again to Jeorge Tripps for giving us this kit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And some very groovy transistors.
So what makes the MKT275 a favourite amongst aficionados?
That's a really good question. I think it's as much a historical thing as anything, that there are some killer players that have used them. I don't really know. I mean, there are other transistors that are probably, in fairness, just as good, but just don't seem to have had the notoriety that they have. So, it's some people like them, some people don't. Okay, so we have all the components in, bar the transistors now. So, transistors, especially germanium, are very heat sensitive. So it is a case of quick in and quick out. Right, let me just, I'm going to double check, if you'll just excuse me for a second, I'm going to double check that I've got because these are different ratings, different power if you like, and they have to go in the right order.
What are you checking there then?
It's a thing called HFE, don't ask me what it stands for, it's similar to the cubic capacity of an engine. Basically.
Fuzz emitter.
Yes, something like that, yeah, that'll do, I'll have a bit of that. So that's for Q2. Right.
And 2 is lower than 1?
Yeah, Q2 is slightly higher.
Well, I guess I had one
about 30% usually. Which was the emitter?
If you were to, so we know that these MKT 275s are pretty rocking horse doo-doo.
Yeah.
If you were to go onto the electronic bay and try and procure some, how much cash would you be dropping for those?
You know, I don't know. I think they've become so rare that they don't appear on eBay now.
Right.
Really?
I think not real ones. There are a lot of fakes, unfortunately.
Do we think these are fakes?
No, the font is correct on these, and there's some that have got a lot bigger printing on them. These, so yeah. Right. Anyway, I've been distracted. This is the thing. Getting these in the wrong way round is just you can't do it. So you've got bear with. Okay, this is a bit that really is quite nerve-wracking even for me. That's Q2 in.
Go.
All right, last 3 blobs. I need a touch more, I think.
And he's done it.
Yeah, we're done. Well, I say that. It's got to work yet. Joke. So there we go. Oh, hang on. Just one minor adjustment. This is a little bit high for my liking. Just an aesthetic thing, but you know, it's what I do. So we're done.
Amazeballs.
Beautiful. Look at that.
Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed.
So Markus has finished building the circuit board, and we have a donor pedal to put it in. We were going to swap between the enclosure that George Tripps gave us, but we want to be able to A/B the NK275 board with the AC128 board. So we have another fuzz face here. Mick, tell us about this fuzz face.
Joe Bonamassa gave me this fuzz face.
Honk.
Kind of indirectly through his store, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It's so as you can see, there you go, that's for you. It's the copper one. Now, Markus, explain to us why it's not that dangerous to be changing the board in this.
Because basically all we're going to be doing is disconnecting these wires here. So we're not going to disturb any of the actual components that make this fuzz face what it is. So literally we're just disconnecting here, putting a new board in. We'll save this one in the safe place, and it can be changed, out reasonably easily.
And we're doing this simply so we can compare the new one that you've put together with absolutely. The one that George gave us.
Completely.
Nice.
Yeah. So, so I've taken the board out or disconnected the board. And what I'm going to do now is just take a quick snap of where the wires are going into, because, it just makes your life a bit easier just to have something to refer to. So, let's just take these out. They should just drop out pretty straightforward. Yeah. So, they have the old and the new. You can be, I wouldn't say rough, but you do need to sometimes bend legs and leads and things around just to make sure they don't short out. Yeah, okay, I'm happy with that. Right, let's refer to my Oracle. Blue tack. Buy some. If you can make pedals, buy some blue tack.
So these are the wires that are connecting.
Yeah, so this is basically what is known as off-board wiring. So it takes the signal to go to the hardware components of the pedal to do their thing, either to the pots or to the foot switch or to the jacks, depending on obviously what part of the circuit they're coming from. Yeah.
Battery, is that connected there, or is it somewhere
the battery else? The battery's connected via the jack
switch, yeah,
because the jack opens and closes a switch basically on itself. Obviously, these are the things in my pedals. I don't have any wires because my components go straight to the. And that's the difference between point to point and PCB.
Oh, actually, quick question.
Yes.
Steinhardt. These are NKTs.
Yes.
Is the battery the correct polarity for this circuit?
Yes, because these are germanium as well.
Okay,
so
great.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. But I will. It's a good call because it can be something that if you spent good money on some germanium transistors and then fry them because you've reverse polarity'd them, then
Not fun.
it would hurt.
Yeah.
Okay, we're on the home straight now. Last furlong. There's always one. Okay, I'm not going to muck around with this. It needs, one of the strands has become a bit loose and you're just fighting a downhill, an uphill battle if you try and, oh, that's very stretchy.
I always find that when you're being filmed doing something
Something will go wrong.
50 times a day and works flawlessly suddenly stops working the minute the red light's on. Of course.
Yeah.
Same as fingers when playing the guitar, I guess.
Yeah. Red light fever.
Yeah.
Go, last one. And then I can breathe out. That's it.
Amazing.
So, one thing to bear in mind when you are resoldering PCBs is try not to apply too much heat because the copper pad, I don't know whether you've got this in view, but
I will have
the copper trace, the heat can make it separate from the board.
Oh wow!
If you overheat it, so then you've got nothing to solder to, and you've got to do some bodges to make it work. So when you're changing components, that's probably the most critical time to be in and out fast. So there we go. Okay, so that's all done and dusted. Earth strap. Come on, where you got? There you are. Okay, so never forget the earth strap. It's something that I've done many times in the past.
done. Boom. Let's see if it works then.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's bypass.
That sounds unreal.
Yes.
Now, one thing I will say is George very kindly left us a second bias transistor, which will starve it slightly more. So there is we could swap that out at some point to see That will probably add a little bit more gate, a little bit more gnarliness to it. That's quite smooth.
Yeah.
That will probably change that.
I like the smooth though.
We're not doing that today because we've got much more.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's a future
that's for.
future thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Well done, Marcus.
No worries. Thank you very much. Is that cleaned up? No way. What's like? Yeah, I like that on the neck.
That's unreal. That is unreal.
Let's get it in the big boys room.
And we're back in the room. So the deed is done.
Yes. On the board you see the bag O Fuzz Face, so kindly donated by Jeorge Tripps, Silicon BC108. So we're hoping it's going to sound something similar to my Hendrix one. We took the board out of the Bonamassa Fuzz Face, which as standard has some Russian GE transistors, and we replaced it with the board that Markus has just made from scratch or populated from scratch and soldered up. So that's got our lovely Hello Mrs. NKT 275 Rocking Horse Doo-Doo, can't get them anywhere. So let's go. We haven't tested anything yet because we want all of this to be captured as it happens. So fittingly, we've got the Marshall. It's not a 100 watt plexi because we don't own one. It is a 50 watt plexi.
That'll do.
Daniel.
No one's complaining. We've also put the space echo in the loop of the Marshall because we can. A little bit of ambience just to help us along. Look at that absolutely gorgeous thing.
It is a bit special.
Let's get this Marshall into a happy place then.
Does what it says on the grill.
Yeah, we haven't pushed it into heavy overdrive. No. We might do that before the end of the video. Come on then. So, Dan, explain what you've done with the Quartermaster.
So it's just set up so that we can flip-flop between them. So loop 1 is the NKT, loop 2 is the
BC 108.
108.
And you, Dan, you are utterly convinced that the Quartermaster is invisible in this chain.
Well, there's just relays. There's nothing there.
So it's not affecting. The guitar is still seeing the fuzzes are still seeing the pickup coils.
Correct.
Great. So don't be thinking there's any buffering or any silly business going on. It's purely so we can AB them.
Exactly.
Ready?
Indeed.
would say that one. Yeah, that was damn.
What are you hearing? What are you
I
hearing?
reckon if we gave that a little bit more beans, is that maxed out on the fuzz?
No.
No. I reckon if we gave that a bit more beans on the fuzz there.
Sounds darker, that one, doesn't it?
Yeah, but
It's not as gainy.
when you push the fuzz up, you get more top.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the last few percent in the travel of that.
Yeah,
There.
yeah.
Okay.
Not a million miles apart, is it? Oh, sorry, yeah.
They don't sound a million miles apart. I just turned the Marshall up a bit. Marcus, you can have a schwang? We can all play a bit more in a minute. I just want to get initial reactions.
Oh. Yeah, it's surprisingly close, actually. I would say, yeah.
So interesting because now what you said has brought the top end back to that silicon one.
Everyone's waiting to hear you with the Strat Mick.
Yeah. And we haven't cleaned them up yet.
Everyone's sort of fast forwarding this part going, come on, just where's Mick? Where's Mick? What do you think?
Interesting. I'm sorry to chastise you there, Dan. I didn't really know if you realised I had the volume down. Completely fascinating. Neither of them are as woolly as my one.
Yeah.
No,
And neither of them as woolly as a lot of other Fuzzfi, actually. Are you getting that? Or
yeah. Well, apart from mine, obviously. That's true. And I would say that the edge of the note on that, I think we discussed earlier, that George seemed to put a different biasing transistor in.
Yeah.
I think the edge
To
of
be
the
able
note
to do that,
would
get up there.
Would
Yeah.
get sharper.
Yeah. Because
Because
that
that-
one's more brittle when you turn it down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that one at the moment is biased to be smoother. So it's got a lower biasing resistor, which is letting more juice through.
Yeah.
As you put a higher resistor in, it lets less DC through,
Okay.
and the transistor changes its attack.
I really like it.
Me too.
Do you
Yeah,
guys
yeah,
have
yeah.
any a preference so far?
I mean, when you dial back the volume, the NKT keeps all the bottom ends in it.
Yeah, it sounds really good.
And it
absolutely.
sounds flippin'
It's
phenomenal.
beautiful. Yeah,
I think
yeah.
especially, I really want to hear it with this. But
Yeah.
with the Strat, it's just an absolute monster.
Yeah.
But saying that, there's a thing when all the way up, there's a mid-range
Yeah.
that has,
I've
which
always
is
associated
really...
that one of the reasons I like the silicon ones and why I like my analog man silicon one and why I like my Hendrix silicon one is exactly that.
Right.
It's almost like you've got a bit of clon going on after it.
Right.
Here you go then, Dan.
That's amazing.
I would like to hear that in the band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got much more crackly top end. I turned on the fun machine
Thank you.
part way through. Let's try the 335 a sec. Do you want to try anything else, Marcus?
I might just have a laugh with the casino.
Yes.
See how that goes. They'll just play itself, won't it?
says fuzz faces don't do humbuckers then? Well, it's not much fun right down here.
Yeah,
You get a
and
lot
there
of-
is very little. The difference was lost a lot down the lower register.
Yeah.
But as soon as you move up, like past A, the mid range of that thing,
Yeah.
you know, it's really funny that so the front end of the note and the mid range in that is amazing. There's the bottom end in that and the way it cleans up,
Yeah.
Yeah, the cleanup on that is
phenomenal.
It's less. There's less high end when it cleans up, but it's it keeps more of the sort of inherent intrinsic sound of the
Yeah.
guitar. I would
it's
say.
cleaner,
Yeah.
but I think it's probably cleaner because there's less high end. It's not quite as sparkly. One thing I would be interested in seeing is what they sound like with the fuzz dialed back
Yep.
in comparison, because generally silicons get a little bit woollier than germaniums when the fuzz is dialed back.
Let's try it.
It's just
For anyone that's wondering, the reason we stuck the space echo in the loop is so that the fuzz is going straight into the front end of the amp. So there's no buffers after this. There's no buffers before, between the fuzzes and the input of the amplifier.
It is such a phenomenally inspiring sound to play.
yeah. I mean, the germanium definitely still has a bit of that sparkle when you turn the fuzz down.
Yeah.
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 I wish you the best of luck.
Hey. Oh yeah.
I'd just like to take a minute to appreciate how flipping great that guitar sounds with no fuzz at all.
I know.
Just give us a bit of that. It's good luck, mate. Is all I can say. Not for any other reason than this guitar will be good fun.
I won't even play one note on it
At this level.
to see what it does.
105 decibels. Well, tell you what's interesting about these Well, you'll find out what's interesting about these pickups.
You had that when you were in Mackay's, weren't you? That literally it was like on, off, on, yeah.
It's pretty cool, that guitar. It does clean up really nice.
Yeah, but it plays itself in that situation, doesn't it?
Nice.
You don't have to touch it.
I should try my old favourite.
Yeah,
Indeed. This will be very interesting.
Yeah. Observation, that one seems to be gating a bit. So if I hold on to that note, it goes away. Listen.
Generally with gating, yeah, maybe. It might just be. It's difficult to tell really at this.
Yeah, I've noticed that on a couple of notes, it just sort of fades off. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Now it's really interesting. That cleans up like your blue fuzz with that guitar.
I was just about to say that.
That's mad.
So main difference, one of the principal differences between this Strat and that one, this has more 60s style, early 60s style pickups. That one's got later 60s style pickups, and the wire is different, and I do notice a different high-end response significantly.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Could be any number of factors, couldn't it?
Yep.
But we were talking about things like inductance and capacitance and all those conversations earlier, which has such a colossal effect on these things.
Yeah.
Pickguard swap.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, that was bloomin' fascinating.
It was. Yeah.
Amazing.
It was... What I like is we've got two very distinct sounding fuzz fight here that are both highly, highly enjoyable to play.
Outrageously enjoyable.
And both have their own things. You may prefer one or the other. You may well say, "My goodness, they all sound the same. I really don't like fuzz." What is all that bass about? If you had to pick one, both of you guys, which one would you pick?
I'd pick the NKT. Just for me, because with the telly, it needs that bit of extra bottom end.
Yep.
It doesn't need that extra top end that's got.
Yeah.
So it just seems to work beautifully with that.
And extra aggression in the mid-range,
I don't need that.
And for that reason, I would choose that one because of that's what the Strat loves.
Yeah, I'd do the same. It's the edge of the note on that one for me.
Yeah.
All day long. And that's
Yeah,
Yeah,
beautiful.
I would. It's interesting you say that because I would say about all the stuff of yours I've played, Marcus, that sort of fidelity element. Nothing of yours sounds woolly.
No,
Not that it doesn't have bass, but nothing sounds woolly and woofy. It always sounds clear and distinct.
Yeah, I think I'm very blessed with the fact that people like what my ears hear.
Yeah.
You know, I voice stuff to please me, and luckily it kind of pleases everybody. So yeah.
Awesome.
It's a thing.
Great.
Mate, thank you so much for coming down.
Oh, it's been
It's
my
just been the
absolute
most
ball.
amazing day.
Thank
It's
you. Yeah,
education.
It was a bit, but it worked. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank
Yeah,
you for
awesome.
inviting me,
Thank you. I
guys.
hope-
I've really enjoyed it.
Really hope you've found something useful in this. Might have even inspired you to do a kit or whatever, or maybe even start from scratch. I'm still scared, but Dan?
Oh yeah, I mean I've still got my first fuzz I ever made. They're so much fun, such a great way to get into pedals. If this interests you,
Yeah.
fuzz is such a great place to start because it's so simple and it can sound epic.
It's really good motivation to go on to the next step because you hit it and you're like, oh yeah.
And you make a little change, you change the bias resistor or whatever, and suddenly you've got a different pedal. So it's a really fun way to experiment with them.
We are talking about at some point doing a follow-up with Marcus where we'll go and see him and we'll do some more tweaky stuff. So maybe we will swap out some of those bias resistors and some other things like that. Maybe swap a transistor.
Build an echo rack. Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
We're gonna build a Boss GT1000 core.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Again, massive thank you to Marcus for coming down. It was excellent.
Cheers, buddy.
A massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your support. Also, a massive thank you to our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
Anderton's Music of Guildford in Surrey.
And our friends in Australia.
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane in Queensland. Please check them out.
Yes, indeed. And there are links in the description below.
There are. If you click on the links below, you can buy some stuff. In America, you get from that pedal shop. Woohoo. No merch there, but plenty of lovely pedals. And if you buy stuff there, Dan and I get a kickback off that, and it helps us greatly.
Indeed. And for all merch stuff, please go to thatpedalshowstore.com where you can get your hats and t-shirts and D&M drives and all the associated accoutrements.
Indeed.
Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
Cheers,
Year.
everyone. Bye.